Hello everyone, Derek's here again, and I'm going to bring you another video for our Walking Dead countdown to the Season 5 premiere of Walking Dead, which is approximately 63 days away. We're another day closer, we're getting there. It sucks that summer's coming to a close, but when you have Walking Dead to look forward to, hey, I'm alright with that. You know, bring on the cold weather, bring on the snow, bring on the zombies. I'm ready for it. But what I'm going to be doing here tonight is I'm going to do a video on which character I think should replace Dale's storyline from Fear the Hunters. This is a big topic. This is a big part of the comics. I'm not going to elaborate more at this moment. I'm just going to warn you now, if you have not caught up on Walking Dead or if you are not caught up on the comics, I suggest that you not watch this video because there are major spoilers contained, and I don't want to spoil anybody that doesn't want to be spoiled. So, if you're not caught up, please exit the video now. Okay. So as I said, I'm going to do a video on which character I think should replace Dale's storyline in The Walking Dead Season 5 if the show decides to go that route with one of the characters, which I think they should. I said earlier that in one of my videos, one of the top 5 things that they need to do in this season from the comics is use Dale's storyline in Fear the Hunters. I think it was definitely a big part. It definitely had a big impact on readers, and I think that seeing that replicated in the Walking Dead TV series would definitely provide a lot of drama. It would very well provide a lot of suspense, and it would definitely be a very emotional moment, which is something that you want to do for all viewers of The Walking Dead. Now, for people who may or may not know, Dale is still alive in the comics at this point. He lived in the prison. He made it out of the prison, and he was on the way to Washington with Rick and Abraham and the rest of the group. What ends up happening is Dale is out, and he ends up getting bit by a walker, which he doesn't let anybody know, and he basically sneaks off in the middle of the night because he wants to go die away from the group. He didn't want to, have like a big goodbye or make anything emotional. He also didn't want to be there for when he changed because he might have killed somebody, as a walker. So he decides to leave. The hunters grab him, take him back to their place. They end up cutting off his other leg because he lost the leg in the comic series rather than Herschel. And they basically started to eat him. And as we know, in the Walking Dead comic series, the hunters were cannibals that would hunt down small groups and would basically capture people one by one and eat them in order to stay alive. Because they said that they weren't that good of hunters of food, like for animals, and there weren't that many supplies around. And I think that Dale wakes up, and basically they explain it to him like, hey man, this isn't personal, we just cut off your leg because we need to survive, which is, I tell you, it was definitely one of the most insane, shocking moments of the show for me. I mean, excuse me, of this comic series for me. Seeing the storyline, seeing the brutality, and the overall calmness, and like nonchalant manner of their leader, Chris. Well, he seemed to be the leader, but the way he was explaining it, it was like it was a natural everyday thing that we all just go out there and eat humans, which kind of a little nuts if you're doing that, even in a Walking Dead world. He definitely has crossed a line that I don't think many people would be willing to cross, or at least I hope not. And thank goodness, we don't want to have a bunch of cannibals around in the Walking Dead world. We already have the walkers to worry about for that. So, but it's definitely a very intense scene, and Dale, ends up, laughing. First he starts crying, and then he just starts, losing, and I think, everything got to him, just what was going on. I don't think he could believe it, and then he starts to realize, whoa, wait a minute, I'm bit. I'm infected, and you guys are eating my infected leg and my infected body. Now, whether they would have died or not, I don't know. I don't think that they did. Maybe, who knows? Maybe cooking something would kill the virus. As you know, heat generally does kill a lot of bacteria and viruses. It's just that the human body is, ranged at a temperature of anywhere between 97 and maybe like 100 degrees. Your ideal one being 98.6. It's not enough to kill the bacteria. You usually need to have about boiling point, about 212 degrees or so, in order to kill them, sometimes hotter. So they may have killed the virus when they cooked the leg, but maybe they didn't. But we don't know. But, it's definitely a very intense scene, and I think that it's something that needs to be replicated. Now, the question is, which character is the best candidate? In my original video on my death predictions for Season 5, I named 7 characters. Out of those characters, I've narrowed it down to 3 people that I think this death would be, I don't want to call it fitting for, but I think that it would basically serve the purpose for the storyline. Because the reason why I think it was Dale that was chosen was because A, it had been a character that had been around in the story for a long time, and it was fitting to have somebody major go out this way. It just wouldn't be the same otherwise. On the other hand, the other thing is that Dale was a big part, and he's, in some ways he's a fan favorite. He was definitely a popular character, and he was a popular character in the TV series. And I think that in order to do this, what you want to do is, A, you want to think about the character that would impact the group, and you would also want to think about the character that it would impact the audience, because you got to think about both. And I think that I said no to Rosita because she's too new, and I just don't think that it would have the impact if it was Rosita. I said no to Carol because even though it would still kind of affect the group members, I just don't think that it would impact the audience. Because Carol, I like Carol, and a lot of people do as well, but Carol is, again, that conflicting type of character about how you feel. The fact that she went out and killed Karen and David and Lizzie shows that, it's going to have a different kind of impact on us, and I just don't think that we would be as affected by it. I think that some of us would just be like, well, she got what she deserved. I mean, I know that I would be, shocked, but you have to think about what would be the hardest hitting, and I don't think that Carol's it. And I said no to Glenn because I think he deserves a little bit better. And I do hope that they play out his story into the Alexandria Safe Zone. And I think that that's something that's meant for him. I think they should either do Tyrese, Beth, or Bob to take Dale's place as the character that dies this way. For Beth, the big reason is because it would definitely be hard-hitting to the audience as well as to the characters. I think seeing Beth in that state would definitely be hard-hitting for Daryl, because he would feel responsible for letting that happen to her, because, Daryl and her got separated, and I think that Beth dying like that would definitely cause Daryl to kind of revert back to his old ways for a little while, and I think that it would definitely be a big impact. I think it would also hit Maggie really hard, because that's her sister. And it would definitely impact the audience, because we see Beth as a ray of hope in this world. We see her as she's a beautiful woman that has a lot of good, nurturing qualities. She is probably one of the more innocent, humane members of the group. I'm not going to say totally, they've all had to do things, but throughout all of this, Beth has still been overall humane. She hasn't really had to make decisions that killed people. She's never killed a person as far as I know. she's only killed about 8 walkers that I know of. And you know, her taking the time to look on the brighter side of life, to smile, to play that piano, to sing, shows that she has good qualities. And she is somebody you would want in your group. And to see someone as innocent as Beth die that way would cause you to flip a switch like that. And again, I really hope that they portray them killing Gareth and the Terminus people in a cruel, sadistic way, like they do kind of in the comics. Even if it is off screen, I would want to see that happen, so that way, it's more realistic. It shows the anger that this group is feeling, because I want them to be challenged by the Terminus people, kind of like how Rick was with the Hunters. So I think that Beth could definitely do that. Now, Bob, the reason why I say Bob is because he is kind of new, so maybe it wouldn't be, like, it would kind of be a little more, again, I don't want to say fitting, but if you take the new guy on the block and give him kind of a harsh death, it might not receive as much character backlash. Like, we wouldn't necessarily be like, oh, he deserved better. Bob definitely has been a good character. And I think that, again, him being the ray of hope, and him becoming more of a moral compass, and him becoming like a nicer kind of guy that's kind of throwing himself out there and being, like a good moral compass for the group, could definitely throw the group out of loop, losing him. It would definitely impact Sasha, because I think that maybe she might regret not pursuing Bob. I think that it would definitely hurt Maggie and Glenn. I think that they definitely credit Bob for helping them reunite. It might affect Daryl, seeing as how he was with Bob. And I just think that, even Tyrese and a couple of other characters, seeing Bob go would definitely dishearten them. And I think that it would be enough for them to, get so angry they throw their morals out and, again, just go all out at these Terminus people. So I think that Bob could be a candidate. Why I think Tyrese might, and unfortunately he might even be the best candidate, is for 2 reasons. One, like I said, because he would definitely give an impact to both the group and for us audience members at home. Tyrese is a very popular character, and to see him go out like that would definitely hit hard for us as audience members and for the group members. Tyrese has a lot of connections with people. His sister Sasha would be devastated. I know Bob would be devastated. Rick would probably be devastated. I think that everybody in that group would be very hurt if a hardworking, teddy bear, nice guy like Tyrese would go. And that's the thing, is Tyrese, despite, being around for a while, and even though he did have anger, whenever he lost Karen, and, he acted in a very rash way, he's still, out of all the strong male characters, I think that he's definitely had, the less of a moral problem when it came to making decisions. And I feel like he still is like the most humane alpha male character that they have left, who hasn't really had to go down that path and do dark things like other characters have had to do. And I think that taking him and having him die that way would just, again, make the group react in a very negative way. And I think that by doing that, they would be accomplishing, giving the audience a big, strong emotional impact. The group would be a strong emotional impact on them. And I think that the other thing, number 2, is that, again, like I said, they have a lot of alpha male type characters right now that it's kind of hard to fit them all in. You have Rick, you have Daryl, you have Abraham, you have Glenn, and you have Tyrese, who all exhibit that type of, strong leadership-like qualities. And I just think that having all of them come together, it's kind of going to be hard for them to give them all their time. And I think that, there's also not really a lot of story left for Tyrese. Well, in fact, he's dead in the comics at this point. And I just think that, you know, doing this, would pave the way for more stories. I don't know if they're going to do this death. I can understand if maybe they didn't do it because of the fact that it is a very brutal scene. It is a very controversial moment in the comics, and I think that it would kind of be hard in some ways to portray it, but I'm not going to totally discount it. I think that it's very possible to portray this scene, and I would really like to see it in some way, shape, or form in the comics to re-emphasize how brutal this world is and to, again, provide the audience with a big, impactful moment. So I could see it being Tyrese, I could see it being Bob, or I could see it being Beth. Whether they do it or not, we're going to have to wait and find out. 63 more days, and we will find out. We will have the premiere, and I'm getting excited for it, Again, I want to thank everybody for taking the time to watch this video. I'm going to wrap it up now. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them. Feel free to subscribe for more. And again, I'm going to be doing more videos as we go along, counting down. I do have a lot more interesting topics, and I do have a lot more predictions for more important topics for Season 5. It's just that right now, I don't want to do them too early because I want there to be a little more interest as we get later on. As we get closer, I want it to be fresher in your mind. So I'm going to be saving a couple more of my topics that are probably more popular or more about the story for later on in this countdown. But again, I want to thank you all. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you.